It's just gone lunchtime. This is the third and final hour of All Angles here on ENCA. Good afternoon, I'm Masakora Tlhaga. So it is that time of the day when we give you an update on how far many of the stories we've been following for you today have advanced. Here's your lunchtime update. Right, let's bring in our reporters on the ground who have been following these stories. Heidi Giokos is in Pretoria. We have Pule Letshwiti-Jones, who is also in the capital, and Nqobile Madlala is in Mpangeni in KZN. Heidi, let's start with you. The Electricity Minister held a media briefing this morning to outline the forecast for load shedding stages come the winter season and beyond. This after, of course, he visited about 18 power stations across the country. You were with him. But what is he forecasting for us?
Yes, he has indicated, Maseko, that it doesn't look good ahead of the winter, and this is because we are short of about 6,000 megawatts. That is the magic number that the Minister of Electricity is on a mission to embark on to get our power stations to better perform so that we can see the end of load shedding. But essentially what the minister has indicated is that it does not look good because you have a number of power stations that, of course, are not operating to full capacity. The energy availability factor for most of the power stations are not at 100% where they possibly should be. You have, for example, Nqobile just over 30%. It's one of our newest power stations, but it's not operating at full capacity due to the structural defects. You also have Kendal Power Station that, for example, has 1,000 megawatts that could be unlocked, but because of carbon emissions restrictions, they are unable to lock these megawatts that do exist. This, of course, causing major problems for the Minister of Electricity because he, of course, needs to ensure that he brings an end to rolling blackouts. That's why, of course, he was hired. But we have been told that these representations will be made to Cabinet for consideration, and the Minister making it very clear that Cabinet will have to, of course, decide on how we bring an end to rolling blackouts, because he says it is doable and he can find that magic number of 6,000 megawatts that is essentially needed to be put onto the grid to see the end of rolling blackouts. Let's listen to what the Minister had to say today in his lengthy briefing about his visit to the over 18 power stations.
There's people issues there at ESCO. People issues nothing to do with the leadership, by the way. People issues to do with, if you like, job security. I told you that Camden is closing. There are a number of stations that are closing. Grootfontein, the units are gone. And not the units are going. That's people attached to that. And there's no additional incentive for people to apply themselves. The best that you need to run these plants don't see their future at ESCO. And I'm just saying it's a conversation we must have. And as we say we discontinue this unit, it's important to say to us, where is that additional generation capacity that can meet this base load megawatt per megawatt? It's one thing to have to be on an accelerated path of decarbonization. And by the way, renewables is the future. You can see the aggregate share of the energy mix is growing exponentially. But you are sitting with a crisis now that is undermining energy sovereignty of this country. People are out of jobs. The economy is on its knees. Businesses are closing. Farmers can't produce.
All right. Now, Pule, you've been monitoring the student protests at the Sefako Makhatu University. It seems things have gotten a bit more tense there.
Yeah, definitely, Maseko. It seems as though things have gone back to normal for now. In fact, early on we saw quite ugly scenes unfolding in one of the entrances of the institution where there was a scuffle between the private security and, of course, the students. We have since obtained videos that actually transpired from one of the gates where students claim they were allegedly assaulted and, open quotes, shamboked, close quotes, meaning they were whipped by these private securities who were actually protecting and who were supposed to be patrolling the institution here. And they've been quite upset about that. They've vowed to continue with the protests if no one actually comes to the table and meets them halfway. We do understand that the institution's management is still trying to pave a way forward in terms of meeting the students and trying to find each other The issue here is, of course, the delayed funding from the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, which to date hasn't been, or rather hasn't reflected onto the accounts or into the accounts. The students say they haven't been paid or been funded with money for about 4 months, which is affecting their curriculum, because they cannot buy food and they cannot as well be at a liberty stage to feed themselves, because they're relying on that funding from NSFAS as well. Let's just take a listen to what the president of the SRC, who's by the way been suspended by the institution, had to say earlier on.
The problem is still simple. We want students to have their money into their account as soon as now, so we go back to school. It is very wrong that management somewhere at 9 yesterday suspended myself, of course, with the Secretary General and the school chairperson and one of the students here, who have been peacefully demonstrating of a problem they are aware of a problem they could have resolved long time ago. We told them we do not want to be here and we want to go to school. They said they want a letter of commitment from NFSAS. They will pay them on the 7th. They will process the money. But today they paid 1.4, which is not enough. Students have made commitment elsewhere, taken loans with the hope that by now the money would have been there. But now it's not there. Now they are creating two problems. Now the first problem that we are having now is that you are suspending a representative of students who is at that point because they are representing students with a problem you are well aware of and that you are supposed to have resolved long time ago.
All right, now, Nqobile, you are busy with a follow-up in the Empangeni area after Monday's storm. One person died and several others were left injured. What's the latest?
Well, at this point, Maseko, where we're standing, just on the side, you'll see this is the prison that we believe has been affected by the storm. In fact, we have heard that this is the damage that it has caused to the prison. And this, of course, has created some anxiety from the community that has said that they're worried that they could be unsafe because they're not sure where exactly this damage is. And they don't have any person from the correctional center that has been able to speak to them and highlight where these damages are. We have seen some of the visuals which have been which had been circulated around, which shows that the inside damage is much greater. And we do understand that some of the people that live inside there, in the correctional services, they're saying that even where they live, it's quite difficult for them because of the damage that has been done to the prison. We do know quite a number of people that are in this prison are faced with quite big cases, things like rape, murder, and things like robbery. So I'm going to bring in now my guest, PSA. Lungisindlovu, we know that you have been speaking to some of your people that are working inside, very concerned about their safety at this moment. Perhaps tell us, what are they telling you and what are you guys proposing at this point?
So the most concerns of our members is that where they stay, the roof has fallen out, it has been affected. You can see the weather. They don't know what's going to happen because there have been limited communications from the area manager in terms of what's happening. So as PSA, we are calling for the area manager and also the minister to speed up the process. Public Works should be able to be involved to ensure that our members are safe to work in this correctional service. And we understand that the capacity of this correctional service center, it should be below 2,000. Already you've got over 2,000 offenders who have been stationed here. It is for this reason, as PSA, we are saying they must be able to engage with us and able to provide alternative accommodation, because we will not allow a situation where our members work in an unsafe condition.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. So those are those sentiments that are coming out of this. I mean, the community have just highlighted to us that they're worried that anything could potentially happen. And if it does, they feel that they will not be ready to take care of it. So they are asking as well for the correctional services to reach out.
All right, that was your ENCA lunchtime update from all angles with reporters Nqobile Madlala, Pule Letshwiti-Jones and Heidi Giokos. Thank you very much, team.